There's nothing more frustrating than getting to the end of the day as a creative, as an artist, as a person that has these amazing ideas, and yet feeling like you had no time to actually do them. Your schedule gets away from you, the responsibilities just kind of cloud everything, and those things are important. But the things that are really fulfilling always seem to get pushed to the back burner, or you procrastinate, or you simply can't find a way to prioritize them. And what happens as an artist, as a creative, you get more and more disappointed, frustrated, and this feeling is not good for your overall inspiration and creative drive. So in this episode of the God and Gig Show, we're going to help you to make one small but important change in the way you approach your creative schedule, making sure that you find a way to get the things done that actually fulfill you, that actually move the needle in your creative life, that will make your life better as a creative. Give me just a moment to welcome those of you who are new to our show, and then we'll get right into this super important conversation. Hello and welcome to our show. Thank you so much for making this podcast a part of your creative day. If you are new to our show, thank you. You're in the right place at the right time, and let me tell you why. As a creative, artist, freelancer, entrepreneur, anyone at the intersection of the arts, entertainment, but also probably ministry, and you have a heart for excellence, you have a heart to create things that God has called you to create, well, we help you to do that by connecting the dots between your spiritual life and your creative life. Now, one of the things that all of us deal with as creatives is the struggle to find the time to do those things that are in our heart, those creative activities, the inspiration that we feel, to actually find the time during our busy schedule, our busy day to do it, often feels like such a big lift. As a matter of fact, for many of you who don't work full-time creative arts or creative careers, this is the biggest issue you have. Because if you don't have time to do the thing that you really care about, that you are feeling inspired to do, this is what's stopping you from really pursuing it, because you cannot find the time in your day to actually achieve it. But what if there was this one little tweak, one little mindset shift that could make it possible for you to achieve your creative goals day by day and to optimize your creative schedule? So let's listen in and find this one small tweak, and emphasis on the word small, because it's not about changing a lot of things. It's about the way that you approach these things that could revolutionize your creative schedule and get you on the path to more fulfilling, more sustainable, and more inspiring creative work habits. Here's our talk about optimizing your creative schedule. How to optimize your creative schedule. How to deal with the fact that so many of us as creatives do not feel like we have time to do the very thing that we feel the most energy, the most fulfillment in doing, and yet our time and our schedules seem to prevent us from doing that very thing. So put a yes in the chat if this is you. I'm going to just go ahead and go through some things and see if this applies to you. You have gotten to the end of the day and you groan because you realize the thing that you had planned to do the entire day never got done. And I'm not talking about the dishes. I'm not talking about the chores. I'm talking about sitting down to write the next 5 words, next 5 chapters, the next verse of your song, to get into the studio, to practice that part, to work on that song idea. How many of you have gotten to the end of the day and you realize that never happened? The creative thing that you were like, oh my gosh, I got to get this idea down. It never happened. Or give me a yes if this is you. Okay, give me I need to pick another word. Or you are spending a lot of time just dreaming about doing this particular thing. And matter of fact, this time you've actually sketched out all of the things you need to do to get an album done, to get a painting done, to get a podcast done, to get a new guest, to get something going on. That's really super cool. You write down all the things so you're organized. And as soon as you write them down, you actually get depressed Because as you work through all the steps you realize you're going to have to take, your brain is like, oh my God, how there's no way. Like, look at all the steps I have to take to actually get this done. And again, I'm talking about things that you want to do. These are the things you want to do. Am I right? Like, everything I'm talking about is not, I'm being very distinct here on purpose. I am not talking about optimizing your creative schedule for doing your taxes, even though that had to be done. I'm not talking about optimizing your creative schedule to make sure you pay your bills, even though that needs to be done. I'm not even talking necessarily about family time, which needs to be done, which is a huge thing. Your ministry time, like whatever other thing that is going on in your life, I am not discounting those things as not being important to optimize your creative schedule to come up with your perfect schedule. What I am saying is acknowledging is that the thing that usually gets cut the fastest, the thing that always drops off, is the thing that you also usually feel would either be the most important or have the most longevity, would energizing effect on you. It would be like, if I do this, so many things in my life will feel better because I'm actually involved in something I enjoy, but yet I never seem to do it. Okay, so I'm going to kind of give you a overview of something that we do every year, and I'm going to start getting ready to do it again. I'm not sure when we're going to schedule it, but every year we do something called the Consistent Creative Challenge. If you have not heard of this, it's because you haven't been with us for a while. The Consistent Creative Challenge is something that we do to help our creators be more consistent in the habits and the disciplines that help them create their best work in the most consistent way possible. Every day, doing something that is your best work. Every day, being consistent. So, one of the days that we talk about this, so we talk about all 5 different things that will help you do this, okay? And we actually have this as a standalone course inside the 360 app. As I remember, I almost forgot about this, but we do have this inside the app. So we talk about a lot of E's in this one, okay? We talk about elevating your efficiency. I'll explain what that is, okay? We talk about eliminating all the distractions. We help you do that. That helps you optimize your creative schedule, okay? We help you to identify your why, to identify what makes you electrify, what makes you happy, what makes you excited. So all these things are in the challenge. But the thing I want to focus on in this case is efficiency. And when I say efficiency, what I'm going to be talking about is having what I'm going to call, and I thought about this morning, is being able to shrink your deadlines and shrink your tasks to fit inside a creative schedule that you can actually keep. What most of us struggle with, and correct me if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm right. Y'all help me in the chat. Y'all help me in the chat over on Instagram and as well. Those of you who can't see everything, okay? If you have a big task, like you want to create an album, put on an event, whatever, but most of these things are talking about creative side. Most of the time, we feel like it doesn't get done or accomplished because how can you accomplish all of that in just one day? How can you write a whole song in one day? Normally you can't. How do you do entire painting in one day? Normally you can't, right? We all know that you have to do this piece by piece. But 2 things that I've learned, even in terms of studying a lot of gurus that talk about time management, that talk about productivity, is we tend to overestimate what we can do in a short period of time and underestimate what we can do in a long period of time. Does that make sense? We overestimate what we can do in a short period of time. So you think, oh, I'm just going to go and I'm going to like get super energized. I'm going to do this and have this much time. I'm going to be able to do all this stuff. And you realize, no, you can't get all that done in the time that you have available in your day. But then a year from now, how much could you have done if you had stuck with a principle sensible schedule that would allow you to keep those things going in whatever your creative niche is? So what we're going to talk about today, and this is like my one point that I'm going to kind of harp on, is if you want to optimize your creative schedule, number one, you do need to know your most productive time of day. When are you already in the phase and in the thought process of creating. And so that's where we're going to talk about that later in the consult. What's your natural rhythm, and how can we use your natural rhythm in concert with your regular schedule? It's going to be funny because some of you are going to say, okay, wait, he's going to bring AI into this. Yes. Even in terms of asking AI to check out your schedule and to see where are you actually missing out on some hours and possible things that you could use. But then after we're going to figure out what the best part of your day is for this, we're going to shrink the task down. And this is going to be weird for some of you who are like, I can't do it like a tiny little piece of a task of a creative work. That's not creative. Like if I'm going to paint, I'm going to paint. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm just going to like wash my brushes. Like that's crazy. I want to actually do something that creates. Follow me here. And if you heard of Atomic Habits, you see where I'm going with this. If you shrink down the task that you're trying to do, your creative task, to the smallest molecular level, and put it in your schedule, put it on your calendar, put it on your phone that at this hour I do blank, blank, blank. But it is so small that it is almost impossible to fail. It is almost impossible to fail. It's like, this is something where if I say play 5 notes at 5 p.m., if I play those 5 notes at 5 p.m. and you're like, that's really silly. That's not a song. That's not going to actually make anything. But the key is I did get involved in my creative habit. Dave Ramsey talks about this when it comes to financial peace and financial planning and like budgeting. He's like, it's 80% habit. Okay. It's building the habits and the disciplines that then allow you to be creative over time and that you don't feel like you're pushing yourself or you get this writer's block. So the key of this creative schedule is if you make it small enough, it will fit. This is kind of like the little hack that sounds strange, but it also works. If you make this thing that you're doing so small that it's really inconsequential to your schedule, now it is part of your schedule and it doesn't feel like a big lift. And you can start to figure out, how can I lengthen this part of time that I do this thing? So let's say for the writers in the room, writers, you all know we have our time. My time is supposed to be write, which I almost never have not gotten to this habit. I got to get into the habit again, is writing my 500 words. Why is that probably the mistake? Right there, I just said it, 500. I should probably make it 50. At 6:30 p.m., I write 50 words. I can write 50 words pretty much in my sleep, but the question is not whether or not I have a big goal. The question is not whether I'm achieving it over time. I have this app on my phone called Streaks, and one of the things the Streaks app does is if I'm not accomplishing my goal, it basically comes to me and say, hey, do you want to lower this goal? Which sounds so weird to people who are used to goal-oriented achievement. We don't like to lower our goals because we think that's cheating, or it's really just, we're not doing well enough. I see Ja Will over here. Get what you can get done in chunks. Exactly. Some people call this batching. There's all these different ways of like phrasing it. But the key thing I want to focus on is if you're going to optimize your creative schedule, then what you have to do is make your task so easy to fit in your schedule that you no longer have an excuse to not do it. Many times our creative lives get off track because we always, as we said at the beginning, we always seem to, what's the word I'm looking for? We always seem to deprioritize it. And if you deprioritize your creative work because it takes too long, you don't have time, and everything's life is lifing, you're teaching yourself that it is truly a low priority. But by lowering the bar and making that particular creative thing smaller, and so small that it fits inside your schedule without a problem, now you're teaching your schedule and yourself that this is a priority, which will happen no matter what. And I am now in a habit of spending creative time, even if it's play 5 notes, wash my brushes, clean off my canvas, write 10 words. The smaller the task, the easier it is to fit into your creative schedule. And then as you start to build your muscle, you start to expand that time of your day. Well, my friend, I hope that blessed you. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure you have a new way to look at getting things done in your creative life that will move the needle, that will make you more satisfied each night. Each day, you will have more and more things that are in line with your creative life so that you know you're making progress because you're actually doing things that make you happy, that make you fulfilled, that fulfill that creative drive within you, and that don't compete with the rest of your priorities because you found the space for it in your day. Well, my friends, if that blessed you, I can guarantee you'll want to hang around more people who think like this, who create like this, who want to grow the way that you want to grow. And I would highly recommend you check us out at godandgigs.com/membership because we have 2 tiers of groups that connect in our app, in our community. We have our Creative Resource Center for people who connect with our teachings and our recordings. We have master classes that are all recorded. It's basically like a mini college for creative Christians. But you can also join us in our live coaching sessions, which is for artists who really want to connect with each other and get that one-on-one or one-to-few kind of training that we will give in our group sessions and our mastermind sessions. So both of those options you can find at godandgigs.com/membership. Well, my friend, until next time, continue to become the creative that you were created to be. God bless, and we'll see you next episode. My friend, thank you for watching this episode. If that blessed you, you got to make sure that you stay connected with this community and this channel so that you can get more where that came from. We're sharing great interviews, tactics, strategies, mindsets, lifestyle choices. Everything is going to help you become a totally confident creative. And don't miss an episode of the God and Gigs Show. If you are staying connected to our channel, you'll be able to find us anytime we release new episodes. And you can check out some of our archives of almost 200 episodes now that we've shared over the last few years. Make sure you check out one of the suggestions right now because it's probably perfect for you to continue to develop as a creative. And continue to stay connected with us because we're here to help you become the creative that God created you to be. We'll see you in the next episode.